beautiful souls. Welcome back to another episode of Karma Cards. I am your host, Therese Tucker. By the way, I have a loud breather with me right now. One of my cats, Floof. Her name's really Iris, but she doesn't respond to it. She only responds to Floof. And she looks like a white cloud. Anyway, she's a loud breather, and she's at my feet right now. So if you hear weird sort of piggy sounds, that's just Floof doing her thing, taking a nap under my desk. Welcome back to Karma Cards. It's been a while since I've seen you here. I've been doing a lot in a lot of different places. We had the Epic Year Workshop live a week or two ago. I've lost track of time. We've also had some timeline jumps. There's just a lot going on. So it is so nice to have a moment to sit and chat with you. There's just so much change energy going on right now because we are in that purification window. This is a window of time. We're getting close to the winter solstice. That's a shift point, but also just energetically and on the map, if you will, of where we are in our ascension progress. We're in a time of deep purification. So we're talking about karma. We're talking about releasing things. We're talking about breakthroughs and upheavals. And it might feel like they're coming at you 100 miles an hour. Just change. We got a lot of active energy around that right now. So if you're feeling that, I want to talk to you about it today because there's just so much to talk about. By the way, check out the podcast, Modern Mystic Soul. Channeled messages are coming through. They're talking about this time of purification as well. It's really about letting go of the mental energies that are affecting our physical world. So the mental influences the physical world. And if there's stuff we're holding on to mentally, if there's just a pattern that we're holding ourselves and we keep repeating it and it feels heavy, well, that's what's being asked to be purified because it can't come with us. I'm also going to be releasing a podcast episode next week where I'm going to talk about the timeline that sort of comes through in Dolores Cannon's work. Now, Dolores was very wise. She did not focus heavily on dates, but her work alluded to bands of time. And so I'm going to go over that with you in the podcast, and you're going to see we really are in this preparatory window period of time where this purification process is required. So we're going to talk today about a specific area that we can purify because we are also in that window when we're wrapping up one year and we're about to start another. So in the Epic Year Workshop, that's what we worked on. We talked about our goals for the year ahead and getting in alignment with the energy and also helping to anchor that into our body. So we are embodying those states just as much as we are thinking about them and calling them in. This message from my team in spirit actually came through in a private session with someone, and it was just so brilliant that I wanted to share it with you because I think it's a process that would benefit all of us. And according to my team, what they're talking about is this shift or upheaval in the physical world. This is the Knight of Wands, the Knight of Discs. And as you can see, he's like surrounded by money here. But he's coming up this way. And when I asked my team what that meant, it was about detoxing, purifying, getting clarity, and really clear on your idea of what success means to you. So oftentimes when we set goals, the intention is to succeed at something. We're trying to create something new in our life. We're trying to shift the energy in a favorable direction that's pointed more in alignment with where we desire to go to. And so this technique came through in a reading for someone else, and it was simply about purifying your relationship or getting clarity or decluttering even your relationship with success. And what does that look like to you? And it was a pretty simple technique, but I would love to share it with you because I think it's fascinating. They encourage us to grab a pad of Post-its and a pen, and on each Post-it, you want to write down something that's a marker for success for you. It could be a specific feeling that feels like success. More specifically, what's creating that feeling for you, because the feeling state is the vibrational key, but there's often things that we tell us will get this. Like, for example, if we want to feel happiness, the next question we want to ask there is, what is happiness to me? What's eliciting that? So on one post-it you can write happiness, and on another post-it is the things that you believe will get you to happiness. What is your relationship with success look like? What does success look like to you? It might look like a certain dollar amount. Write it on a post-it. Might look like a relationship. Might look like having certain items around you, or certain status, or you get it. It could be all sorts of things. Writing them all down and seeing them in front of you. And then my team wants us to look at it and organize those post-its by what makes you feel limitless, and which of these ideas about success make you feel limited. So limitless goes into one category, limited goes into another category. Hopefully when you stand back, what you will see is that some of these conditions that you have for success are going to help you feel expansive, lighter, and like something you can absolutely achieve for yourself, no matter the external conditions. Others will feel like your happiness, your success, your degree of contentment in life feel very externally conditional. And you might find that when you look at it, when you see what makes you feel limited and what makes you feel limitless, that you'll start to see the picture there. The limitless picture is the one we want to look at. That's the higher dimensional match. That's the higher timeline match. And then you might actually start riffing off of that once you see that list for yourself. And then you're like, oh, this also makes me feel limitless. And you write it on a post-it and you add it to the group. One of the ways that you can start purifying this relationship is that everything that makes you feel limited, you take a good long look at it and you ask yourself, is this helping me grow, or is this keeping me fixed? Because until I have this thing written on the post-it, I don't feel like I'm moving forward. And then you'll see all these unlimited aspects. And you might be like, yeah, this has been holding me back the whole time. This very thing that I thought I wanted, this very note that I made to myself, and I said, when I get this, that's when I will have what I want. Well, no matter how hard I work or what I do, this doesn't quite ever articulate, never quite comes fully into focus. And so I've been limited by it. You might find that as you see that, you'll want to crumple that paper up and toss it in the wastebasket. And then ultimately, you will be left with a list for your mile markers of success that might show you that you're more successful than you've maybe given yourself credit for, or that feel like, yeah, when I go in that direction, things always feel better. So it's helping you identify and define your own North Star in a way that feels like it is actually achievable. And it's actually something that, yeah, I can do this. Like better communication with my partner or other people. This feels achievable. This feels like something I can literally get in there and do. And when I do it, I feel so much better. So take your time, grab a stack of Post-its. It's so worth it. Write each of them out. Ask yourself the questions. Write down happiness, write down contentment, write down joy. Now ask yourself, what are the conditions I believe I have to achieve to get those things? And you're going to find out that you're leaving that lower timeline. You're leaving the denser timeline, and you're already attracting and asking for and even embodying the things that raise you up in frequency. So with that, let's look at this week's karma cards and see what they add to that message. If you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for this week? And I've got 2 sets of answers, a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel, what is the guidance you need right now? Are you looking for action related guidance or outcomes? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you are choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for November 25th through December 1st. I cannot believe we're saying December 1st, but there it is. All right. The flavor of this reading, we've got the South Node, which really is what we're letting go, what we've already figured out, what we've already understood. This is the past. This is where we are coming from and shedding off. In the sign of Aries, which has to do with our relationship with ourself, our awareness of ourself, our self-image, our relationship to who we think we are, in the 4th house, which again talks about the past. So this is about your family base. It's about home, but it's also about where you've been as well. Like what you came from is the 4th house. And it's so interesting because there's these, it's sandwiched in a way where we've got the past, and then like Aries always talks about starting anew. Aries is the start of a cycle. So getting ready to let go to start a cycle is definitely a theme that's coming through here. All right, for those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to remember your willpower as you did in the past. When I ask them about this, I just keep hearing the words initiation. It's an initiation point. You went through an initiation point just from coming onto this planet, and it feels like they're trying to connect this now moment to that moment. It's like when you started this journey, when you initiated it, there was a will to start. There was the will of the soul to begin. And now we're at another point where it's the will of the soul to ascend, to grow, to move, to expand the consciousness. So it's like kind of get in touch with that feeling. And I know it's not a feeling you might remember in your physical body, but it is definitely one that you can sense on a spiritual level by taking time to connect with it in meditation or contemplation. Mental action at this time, reconsider what you think you know about your home base or your family. All I can hear is like in the United States, it's just days before Thanksgiving. So this is often a time for family with people. But we're being reminded that on this physical plane, we sort of get to this point with our ego where we think we know everything. It's like, oh, if I've studied this, if I've therapized that, if I've meditated or contemplated on that, then I know all there is to know. And my team's like, ding on that one. So I think I know all there is to know. But what I really need to do is step back and look at it from an absolutely different perspective, right? Who are these people that I think I know? What if I looked at them today with totally fresh eyes rather than the story that I tell myself I know about this person? What if I actually came to situations with curiosity? What if I came to myself with that same energy? What if we come to ourselves and others with curiosity? What don't I know, rather than this is what I know about you? We'd have a very different experience of it. And of course, this is where I keep hearing my team talking about dropping the stories of suffering. If you follow my work, you know I've been talking about that a lot lately. This is a big deal because this is part of that purification. It's remembering that there's events and then the story I tell myself about what that means to help fill in the gaps and answer questions that I haven't gotten answered for myself. I tell a story. And this is reminding us to be like, from a spiritual perspective, one of the wisest things we can do is I know I don't know. I know from a very limited perception, but I don't know the full picture. And when we acknowledge that, we start to expand. The mind starts to expand and can hold more information. All right, physical action at this time. Now is not the time to do it your own way and do what makes you feel secure. Yeah, because doing it our own way or doing what makes us feel secure is a repeat of an old pattern. So it's just like we have to relook at what success, we have to reframe things mentally in order to move into that physical space. It's like you have to create a doorway mentally so that you can physically pass through it. And part of this doorway is like, this what comes, this is what doesn't. It's almost like it's got like a plasma mesh filter. And it's like, as you walk through it, only that which is in alignment comes through with you. Everything else cannot go. Like a TSA for the spirit world is what I'm saying. So yeah, doing it your own way, doing what makes you feel secure. Those are generally based on patterns. My team is acknowledging that right now. So it is an uncomfortable time because it's turbulent. You know, we're looking for comfort. There's like so much, like I said, change. Purification is not necessarily a comfortable process. When we are detoxing the body, as an example, you know, sometimes you get the major poops. I'm sorry, but sometimes you're spending too much time in the bathroom. You know what I mean? I hate to be crass about it, but I'm making a point here that you're going to be in a better place because all that toxin is out of you. But in order to alleviate yourself from it, yeah, the process isn't comfortable. So if you're going for comfort and secure and you're like, let me just do this the way I normally do it, there's like, nah, not going to work. And if you're also saying, but I also want to be on the higher timeline and I also want to be a vibrational match to higher frequency, then it is the time to do it. There isn't, you know, we don't get to say, I'm sitting this out until the next round. It's like, okay, you can actually. You can ask that, but there's a wave locking in, if you will. It's like the first seeding is about to take place. And once the seeding is done, there's some time, but that means you're hanging out in a lower frequency. You're sort of like drifting between a low frequency and a sort of nebulous space where most of us have been asking to lock in this higher timeline. I want to lock it in. I want to feel it more. I want it to feel like that's my everyday life, and I want to experience it in the outside world, meaning I want to see the result of that higher timeline around me. If you're asking for that and you're wanting that, then being comfortable right now is just not a vibrational match. For the next, like, I don't know, if it's like, let's say now through the end of December, it's kind of like this is the work. And yes, it feels like a lot, and you're looking at things and you're just like, when does it ever let up? And I think we can feel like that in the middle of a detox cycle too. Like, when do I ever stop releasing this stuff? When is it done? And then it's like, it's subtly one day, you're all done and you're sitting there drinking some water and you're like, you know, I haven't been purging the last few days. I feel actually like I'm kind of stabilized and okay. And that's when you know, and I kind of get the feeling we're doing that in sort of a mental, spiritual sense at this time. All right, now let's look at outcomes for the South Node in Aries in the 4th house. The spiritual outcome at this time, there will not be energies to meet the challenge of what makes you feel secure. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't love seeing that because, again, we want to feel secure, but you're in a purge, you're in a detox. Lower timeline stuff is leaving. So it's like, well, I can concentrate heavily on my need for feeling secure and comforted and keep failing to meet that, or I can recognize this is a release, this is good, I let it go. I'm letting it go with intention, and I'm allowing myself to feel lighter as it goes. For a while it feels like energy is missing because there's nothing that rushes in and fills it in, and so it's sort of a hollowing out sort of sensation. And it is, you're alleviating a denser frequency. So there is sort of this, I feel empty without this here. It's not good, but I felt filled in and heavier. And now I feel kind of hollow and like I'm drifting. Like there's no middle place for me to hang out. I'm in a waiting room of sorts. Nothing has filled it in. And I think we're just not used to what a lighter frequency feels like. We've been in a dense frequency, heavier, literally heavier energy for so long that lightening it up does feel a little bit like we're drifting. So the best thing we can do at that point in time is just allow ourselves to know that we are anchored and grounded, and this is just a new lighter sensation, is just part of how you operate now. And in time you get into, in time it starts to normalize, but for now, this week at least, it feels really weird. Mental outcome at this time: anxiety about your desires regarding support. This is one of those times where, again, it's like we're in a waiting room. So you've dropped lower frequency, right? Like, okay, these things that I thought I needed to be successful, I willingly dropped them. This heavy story I've told myself for so long about who I am. I'm willing to recognize there was pain I experienced, but this is not who I am. This is a story I tell, and I willingly shed it, right? And then there's this sort of hollowing out feeling of like, wow, I feel lighter. Like I feel like I went from being a rock to a kite almost. Like where's the space that fills it in? And you'll notice that as you have that feeling, you're in this in-between space. It even feels like spiritual support is sort of hollow. Like, where are you guys? Like, I don't feel you the same way I felt you. They're still very much there. We're just changing form in a way. We're changing our form as we shed this energy. And again, the resonance, especially, right, if we are connected to our solar plexus, which connects to the third density and that heavier plane, if we were resonating strongly from our solar plexus, where a lot of people do, it's our instinctual center, right? But that's where we were grounding, particularly to spiritual energy, is in the solar plexus. So as we drop density, or not density, but denseness rather, and actually raise in density, and that center starts to feel hollow, and the strong hits you were getting from that center start to feel like, like they feel like instead of like a punch or something strong, it feels like a puff, like a puff of air. And you're like, what? Is that them? Like, are they there? Part of that is because we have to reorient from the solar plexus into the heart. When you're into the heart, even in this new physical sort of ambient state, it's like there's so much energy there. It's like it all comes back, but it radiates very differently. And it's a totally different feel. It's very different. I'm going to try and see if I can describe it. Okay, it's so different that the solar plexus, when I tune into that one, has like I said, it's got like a punch or a boom. There's a physical expression I'm feeling in my body. When I tune into my heart, I feel movement instead of, I don't know, it feels like I'm watching a fractal open and I'm moving through it. I don't know how to describe it. It's not really a feeling I can describe. Like, just I'm going through a tunnel of light, and the light is moving around, it's colliding, but it's making these patterns that just keep opening and expanding. That's how it is. It's such a different frequency to tune into. You tune in there and it's like, oh my gosh, everybody's here. Everybody's here. I hear it, I feel it, I sense it, but I sense it very differently than when I sense from my solar plexus. So what's going to feel like is, where did my support go? Where's the back of my chair? Where's that feeling of being, of like knowing like you're there? Like I feel it because I feel like a little tug or something. I'm not getting that. Now I'm getting this like puff of air. It's like barely there. All we have to do is move upward, move it up into the heart chakra, which means in order to do that, the stories of suffering that close our heart chakra or guard our heart chakra, those will continue to need to be released and worked on. And we might have a lot. We might think like, oh, well, I've actually released quite a few. And I bet you did. But there's always some more. My team is just like, yep, there's always something, right? Because if you're not experiencing energy you want to experience yet, something's blocking it. And it's probably another story. And they're all coming out in good time. You're doing great. How would we hold awareness for all of them at once? That would be wild. Depending on how long you've been on the planet, that could be a lot. So we give ourselves grace. This cleanup is all it takes is willingness on your part, a willingness to be between spaces, be a little bit uncomfortable, re-regulate yourself. It feels like we're asking for a lot to reorient the whole way that we experience life. We're asking to be reoriented. It's like picking up and moving to a different location within your own body. So be gentle and compassionate and very loving towards yourself, even as you're like, oh, this thing is still here. It's all good. It's all happening in the time it's supposed to happen. It's just not that comfortable right now. And finally, physical outcome. Trouble resulting from the honesty and strength of your home base or family. Home base, in this case, is the physical form. Could also talk about home and literal home and family, but I get that they're hitting home base here as in your personal location, like we were just talking about. And the honesty and strength, right, is the stories that we're telling, like being honest with ourselves. Yeah, it's still here. No matter how much I work on this story of like enoughness, I still keep finding examples where I'm telling myself I'm not enough. Maybe I told myself I'm enough in relationship, but I'm still telling myself I'm not enough as a parent, or not enough as a friend, or not enough as fill in the blank, right? That could be one that's like has many tentacles, right? The core of it is enoughness, but all the stories you tell yourself about how you're not enough. Anytime I approach something new, I'm not enough. Anytime someone asks me a question that I don't just instantly know the answer to, I'm not enough, right? There's so many ways. And so right now it's like, as I try to clean house so I can move into this higher frequency, it's like I just keep finding piles of stuff. And that's uncomfortable too, because part of us I want the cleaning to be done. Like, I feel like I've been cleaning this whole time. And like I said, there's so many, think about it this way. We'll go quantum for a second. Every time we come to a choice, big or small, a timeline plays out of the choice you didn't take, which means you're only conscious of one timeline, but the other one played out. Now think about every choice that you just made today and how many different timelines you could be on, like, right? And so part of this is sort of releasing the story I tell myself about, there's so many examples I could give you, but just like, for example, random one, when I was in college, right before I went to college, I knew I was going to an arts college, but I also knew I had the opportunity to go for fine art or theater. And I ended up going with theater. That's where I went. I enjoyed it. It was a great time. But there was always a part of me that was like, what if I had chosen fine art? Where would I be right now? What would I be doing? How would my life be different or better, right? And that's a story too. Telling ourselves the what if story. What if I'd done this instead of that? What if I turned left instead of right? We hold all of these errant timelines because they did play out. There is a version of me who went to art school. I would love to talk to her and find out what happened, but that's not the point. The point is that these timelines where they split off and go in different directions, they also have culmination points where they sort of weave back together. So eventually, the Therese on this timeline who went to art school, way over here, and the Therese who went to theater school, over here, we also at some point make a choice that brings us back together as a convergence. So, out of this convergence point where we both made a similar choice, the dominant timeline, I don't know how to describe that yet. I only know there's a dominant one, takes over, and now all of that information is absorbed. Our souls are phenomenally intricate and complicated and advanced, and that's why even from a spiritual level, even if you dig into this work, you never find the end. You never find the end. There is no ultimate answer here because the answer is continuing to expand. But all I can say is that there is so much energy behind you. There's so much that wants to resolve, and ultimately it's love for yourself. All right, the cleanup is really, the energy is the heart and the frequency of love for yourself. I love myself so much that I release this story. So it's not so much about I have to find every story. It's more about I love myself so much that through the love that I have in my heart for myself, I give myself grace that I did the best I could with whatever I was presented with. And I release myself from any other story that I'm less than that I didn't deserve, or I do deserve something, that I need to beat myself up over and over again for this. That the pain was so intense or so incredibly cruel that I will never heal from it. Those are the stories that can all be healed through I love myself deeply and I give myself grace that I did the best I could. I did the best I could, and that something larger than me loves me deeply. Something larger than me loves me deeply. It breathes me every day. It pumps my blood. My presence matters to a larger power. And that's all I need to remember. And anything else I'm thinking about in regards to life that is lowering me or separating me from that, I release it. My presence matters to a higher power, and I'm deeply, deeply loved. And when we hold that energy, we can give that energy. We radiate that energy. And so all we're doing is trying to find all the ways that I've blocked myself from remembering that. This higher power deeply loves me, and my presence matters. And as we start to radiate that energy, we burn off anything that's not a match to it. So even though it sounds really complicated and like we're trying to remember all these things, all I'm saying is that as we breathe into that statement that a higher power, my presence matters to a higher power and I'm deeply loved by the universe, as we let ourselves go into it, the stories will come to us. It'll be like, but if that's true, then why did this happen? If that's true, why am I always behind on blah, 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 whatever it is? Let the story come in. It'll come. All we have to do is keep returning to, I love myself deeply, and I'm deeply loved by a higher power who values me. And through that knowing, I radiate this energy and I share it with all, because there is nothing that separates me from anyone else. We're all together here. So acknowledging it for yourself means you're more able to acknowledge it with other people. And we lift each other up. And in the meantime, we're deep cleaning and moving houses. So it's a little awkward this week, but we've got this. We totally got this. So I hope this message was helpful. I hope that if you're feeling what I've been feeling, which is definitely the shuffle, rearrange energy, you know that this is all good. It's all part of the plan. And that we can do this. We can absolutely do it. I'm sending you so much love. Mwah. Happy Thanksgiving to you all, and I will see you next week. Talk about the Starlight Dream Lab, which is all about how to get your nervous system on board with you experiencing your big dream. So if you've ever felt resistance, like you're going after a goal, but your body's not on board because it doesn't feel safe, you feel more scared of going out of your comfort zone than you do stretching, then you need to teach your nervous system that your big dream is a safe space to be. And that's what the Starlight Dream Lab does. It teaches your nervous system that it is safe to experience your big dream, both emotionally and then physically as well. So if that sounds good to you, I have a free mini kit for you. You can go to the link below, click on that. It'll take you to the Starlight Dream Lab and you can get started today, anchoring in calm and clarity and practicing for your big dream before you get there.